All right, I'm back and we're continuing on. It's really unfortunate that I couldn't get that to work, but we can build whatever we want. It doesn't have to use a chat VLM. We could try to bring in TGI. We could also bring in Olama. We already have the code for that and it works. Um, I kind of want to use an OPA component, right? And so maybe we'll just go to the comps and take a look at what there is there. And this is where I want people to try to be creative, as there are a bunch of ones in here. I'm thinking, I think there's like a text-to-speech one, which might be fun to utilize. And we might have an easier time with this. So we have a text-to-speech one. Let's take a look at the source. So this says speech T5 service. I don't know if this is any good. There are obviously newer, better ones out right now, but we could probably also make our own implementation if we wanted to. I'm just curious what this sounds like. I'm just trying to get my my headphones on here so I can hear some sound. Just give me a second here. I gotta untangle some cords. All right, so I guess this is a speech to text model. I can't imagine it's very good though. Yeah, 2021. But you know what? If we can get it to run, then whatever, that's fine. So I have too many tabs open. Let's just close a few so I'm less confused. Okay, so here's one where we can see how it runs. Start the TTS service. That's totally fine. Start as a microservice. Docker Compose. So we have the examples over here that we can copy into. So I'm going to go to Docker Compose into here, and they already have an example of one. We have for general use, Gaudi service, GPT Ovis service. I'm not familiar with what that is. Take a look here. A powerful few-shot voice conversation and text-to-speak web UI. Oh, that's cool. Let's take a look here.
先帝创业未半而中道崩殂，今天下三分，一周疲ですよ。
献身的に介護したんですが、なんだか一人にしてほしいとおっしゃるので。
Well, that's interesting. So, I mean, maybe the voice I'm not particularly fond of, but it does Chinese and Japanese here. This is GPT CVOS Web UI, a powerful few-shot voice conversion and text-to-speech web UI. Zero-shot TTS. Input 5 seconds of vocal sample and experience instant text-to-speech conversation. Unseen speaker few-shot fine-tuned demo. For users in China, you can click here. I mean, that sounds kind of interesting. So maybe there's more than one thing in here. Because when we're over here, there was that one there. Hold on here. Is this it? No, I don't know what that is. It's not that. We just have too many tabs open. Let's close a few. Here we go. So we have here speech 5, but then they have the GPT Ovis service. I kind of want that because it sounds really interesting, but it's not as documented as these other ones. And then we have, well, this one's saying TTS GPT Sovis. So I'm guessing what you have to do is run this underneath, and then these other ones map to it. Interesting. Let's go back here and take a look and see what we have as our options. So under here, speech T5 server. Start microservice for Docker Compose. And they show it. So they have this one, or this one. And so they have an example here of this endpoint. I guess we'll keep it real simple, and we'll try to run the first one here. Okay, so we'll go back over to here, wherever it was. Oh boy. Let's bring back our tab here. Sorry, I realize I'm all over the place. And TTS. Yeah, I'm gonna open this tab here. Whoops. And I'm gonna grab in just the basic service here. Okay, so we've copied that. We're gonna go back over to here. And I'm going to paste this underneath. Again, really a shame that we couldn't get VLM to work, but I feel like I need someone from VLM to freaking help me because it's freaking hard to set up. And so this one will pull in speech T5. I don't know what requirements it needs, but it's not an LLM. So LLMs need a lot of resources. These things, not as much. Will this run on the CPU? I hope so. But I have a I have a 14th generation chip. So if you have an older computer, I'm not sure if this will work for you, or maybe it will, and you'll surprise me. But now that we have this, let's go ahead and just start it up. We're not passing anything to it, so it makes me think that the model is built and contained in this. Some of these models that aren't LLMs, that's just how they are. So it actually is, it might be actually packaged with it here. We'll go ahead and hit up and see if it can pull it. It says it's running on port 9009 is available. I didn't set port 9009. So I'm not sure why it said that port in particular. But what we'll do is we'll bring this up here. I want to see if it failed or not. And I mean, it's still giving us this old error. I'm not sure why. We're not even running that model anymore. Oh, you know what? I didn't save it. There we go. If you don't save it, you're going to have that problem. So now it's pulling this one. And by the way, we're pulling large images. So just remember to clear up your Docker images. If you go over here and just type in Docker images, this stuff can really stack quickly. And so we can see that, you know, some are larger than others, like Olama. VLM is giant, unbelievably giant. I'm going to, goodbye Olama, or goodbye VLM. I'm unhappy with you today. We'll say Docker remove image OPA. I don't know if that's the command. I'm just trying here. VLM. Images remove. Let's say Docker images -- help. How do we delete an image? I never remember that in 100 years. How do I delete a Docker image? Yeah. Docker RMI, I don't know why they make it that command. I wish they just, like, it's fine if you want to have that, but why not have an alternate command that, you know, people can just type in and they can guarantee, they have a guarantee of deleting it. Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, I'm not going to clean that up right now, but at some point I will. I just like to make sure my drive doesn't fill up here. This is running on port 70775. So let's give it a go. They have an example down below here. It's not exactly the same. I don't know if this output will work in particular. But here it says the default port here is 988 for GPT Sovets, right? But we're using speech T5. I don't know, like maybe it has a different endpoint. Let's take a look here. Oh, maybe we need the other one to actually have a web UI endpoint because speech T5 doesn't have a web UI endpoint. But it would have to, because otherwise how would it communicate with it? Yeah, I don't know, like API. Let's see. Does it have an API? So let's go back over here. Maybe we actually need the other one because it says it needs a web UI, but maybe it means it needs a web API, like a web server to be able to actually access it. Because it could use a different protocol other than HTTP for access. It could use gRPC or something else. So I'm gonna go here and just ask. Like, I don't think it knows, but we'll ask anyway and try to get a bit of help. So I'm gonna go and just grab this. So does speech T5 have an API endpoint that we can curl to get a TTS? Watch, I'm gonna be like, are you sure it can do this? It's like, oh, sorry, I just made it up. Okay, so I'm not sure if that's going to work, but we'll give it a try, and then we'll be embarrassed that we ever thought trying that, but we'll go ahead and take a look and paste it in. It says not found. Detail not found. But we did get a response back. That makes me think it actually hit the server. So, yeah, it says post not found. Are you sure? Again, I think it just made it up. Oh, sorry. Yeah, let me check. Yeah, of course you were wrong. No. No. Check the internet. Like, there's nothing in my code base that will help it. Because it might only use gRPC. I like how it went documentation fast REST APIs, if that would help. But it is going everywhere. That's good. It's probably used through Hugging Face. Okay, so that's what I thought, right? But here, using the Hugging Face inference API would be a possible solution. And this is us loading it. Oh, no, this is literally going to Hugging Face. That's so stupid. So yeah, that's why we need that other one, so that we can actually serve it. That totally makes sense. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. We'll go and take a look. So we have speech T5 service. And I guess we'll go back over to here. That answers our question about that. And what I'm looking for is the other stuff to it. So in here, where did it go? I keep losing it every 2 seconds. We're in the TTS here. TTS, deployment, Docker compose, compose. And so we need obviously this one. So it was running. This is if we want to run it for Gaudi. So it's probably compiled in a particular way for Gaudi. We have this service here, and then we have TTS. I'm not sure why we have TTS. And so let's go back here for a second and take a look here. So TTS must be this one here. This must be building out TTS. Okay, and so we go over to here. And so this implements an endpoint. It gives us, okay, so basically, yeah. So this is the interface that we're getting. Okay, so that's what we need. So we need definitely this one here. Do we need this? This is what I don't know. Like, let's go back and take a look at this again. A powerful few-shot voice conversion and text-to-speech web UI. Took the demo here.
大家好久不见，我有
Sorry about that. If that was a bit loud. And we're on Bleebly. I've never seen this site before, but I believe it's a thing. So, I don't know if we need that part because it sounds like that's serving up a web UI. But we can put it in there because if it's a web UI, it's probably really small. So, and then we also have this one. It says like we have TTS, and then we have TTS speech 5 service. And then we have TTS. There's so many of them. It's like, which ones do we need? I can't tell. But we know we need this one because this actually is the speech 5 service. We might not need this one at all. It's starting on port 999880, right? And then we have this one and this one. Container name here. But why do we have this? Extends TTS. Oh, so we have this one and it extends it. I've actually never used extends before. Extends. So maybe what it is that if there's, maybe because, yeah, you have a base template and then it extends that one in the case that you're using the other one. And so then we have this one that extends it if you want the interface. That makes sense. Okay, so we just want the API right now. It'd be cool to see the interface. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this one here. Actually, copy these two here. And we'll go back over to our code here. And we'll go here. and we'll paste this in, right? So now we have TTS and speech T5, right? So that's pretty cool. But we need to run this to see if it actually works. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this. I'm going to start this back up. And imagine that this one's pretty light. This is just this is just pulling basically a fast API to interact with whatever protocol this uses. Now I'm kind of curious, like, how does TTS5 communicate? And I wonder if it's actually using Hugging Face underneath, because it might. So if we go back here for a second into Docker Compose YAML. No, not there. We'll go back to source, and we'll go into here. And we have in here text to speech, fast API, speech 5. So it's just importing it here. It must be specifying like an endpoint for it. Text to speech. Where's the code? There's not a whole lot in here, that's for sure. Oh, it's under integrations. Okay, so we got to go back a step in integrations and then into here. Okay, there it is. So now we have custom logger, cool. There, see? So you just specify base URL endpoint. And how's it communicating with the server? Request.get await asyncio thread request post. Oh, it's just doing a request post. So that's really interesting that Hugging or like Windsurf said there was no endpoint, but there clearly is an endpoint. You can see it right here, right? Like it's V1 audio speech, and it's specifically going to this other one. So, you know, if we didn't want to utilize that code, we could skip it, but here it's going on local 7055, and it's hard coded for that value. So if we go back over to here into the wrapper, basically, and this is, I think, why we consider OPA Enterprise, because it's wrapping it with stuff so that we can log and we can track what's going on here. Because some of these services don't have any kind of tracking installed, so that kind of makes sense why they're doing that. I'm going to go back over to here, and all the services are probably running now. But what we can do is go back over to here, and I'll go down to here. Where is it? All the way down to the ground. And so maybe I can run this now. I'm not sure what voice it would use because I didn't specify anything. I guess it must come with some default voices, which is fine. And I'm going to go over to here, and we're going to go ahead and hit enter, and we'll see what happens. Just couldn't connect to server. It's running, right? Or did it fail to run? Well, I mean, it's running one of them. So that makes me think that the other ones failed. So maybe I'm just going to try to expand this a bit. Where's it? There we go. And so in here, I didn't save the file. Okay, so we'll go back, we'll stop this, we'll start it back up, and we'll let that, now it's downloading the other one, so we'll just wait a little moment for it to completely pull, okay? All right, so here it says port is already allocated. How's it already allocated? 909088. Let's take a look at our Docker file. So we have 7055 9088 for the TTS here. And this one extends it. I don't know what else could be running on that port. Port is already allocated. Okay. I'm going to see if we can, like, I just need a way of checking for, like, maybe there's another external port that's running that I'm not aware of, because we didn't fully, we weren't fully able to kill some of our stuff. Yeah, there we go. Thank you. Sometimes, you know, the code generated is totally fine. Let's go ahead and copy this. We'll bring this on over here. I'm going to go down to here. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to put my password in. And, you know, we can see some ports running. I'm going to go ahead and do a Docker compose down on this thing. So we'll go back over to here. I'm going to, where is it? Where's my Docker compose down? So I'm going to do a Docker compose down. And I'm going to go over to here. I want to make sure nothing's running, and then we'll run that script again. Right? And so if we go here, something is clearly running on this port still, right? Oh, no, nope, there's nothing now. So then what was their problem? Container name. Okay. Maybe I don't understand how extends works, but I mean, I could have swore you just kind of use it, right? Docker. I've never used extends before. Extend your compose file. Common configuration. But maybe when we launch it up, we actually have to tell it which one we're using. That's something I'm not sure about here. I see. So we actually have to specify very specifically what we're using. Interesting. I guess my question is there a way I could boil it down into a single one? I don't know. Okay, and because that might reduce our issue, and then we have to deal with it here. So here it's just going to combine them. And over to here, because I think what I tried to do was start both of them at the same time, and that was the problem, right? But we'll keep it simple. We don't need extends here. And we'll go ahead and replace this like this. And I'm going to go down below here, and we're going to go ahead and we'll try our Docker compose up now. So say Docker compose up. I think this time it's going to work. We'll give it a moment here. And so it should be starting up. Let's go over to here, see what's going on. I can't really tell. It looks like everything's good. We'll go here. We'll hit up. We'll do our curl. We actually get something here. I'm going to go over to here. And what do we get? I mean, that's fine because we should open it up separately here, but I'm going to go and find it in the path. So open, can I open with, just let me open it. 1 second here. I'll go find the directory manually. So I'm looking for this PC. I'm just navigating to it manually. It's kind of a pain. And this is in sites, Omen King, Free Gen AI Bootcamp. And here we have a speech file. We'll open in VLC here. Always VLC. It's a bit smaller here. Let's play it. And I do not hear anything. I'm going to try to open it with Media Player. That doesn't work either. But I mean, at least it gave back what we wanted, but it doesn't play back. Let's go take a look at the logs here. Do we have any information in the logs? I don't see anything here, but if we go over here and we say, maybe we need to view the logs here. We have an error. So it says no schema supplied. Perhaps you meant V1 audio speech. Now, we're using exactly the code that they have, so I'm not sure what else it could be. So we'll just say TTS here, TTS. And I want to go back over to here and copy this. And paste this in here. And I'll just make this a little bit easier to work with. Maybe it just outputted a file even though it didn't work, which is kind of weird that it would do that. We'll go ahead over here and then do this. But I mean, it seems like it made it to here. So how did it do that? So let's take a look here. What's the problem? So it definitely received this here. No scheme supplied. Perhaps you meant this. Because it doesn't say like HTTP or anything. Well, I would think that it would just provide that. Okay, let's go back over to here. So here we have a curl, and it actually does have the protocol here, which is fine. We didn't set these other environment variables. So that might matter. Yeah, that might matter. So I'm going to go ahead and copy this here. I don't really like using exports directly. I'm not sure if this would work if we did it like this. Okay, I don't know if that will work. I'll try this one more time. We'll say chmod. We'll say cd. What's the directory we want? It is the OPEA comps. And we'll say Megaservice new. And we'll do chmod u+x bin TTS. Bin TTS. I mean, it downloaded something, that doesn't mean it worked. What we should do is go back over the logs and take a look. It still has this issue here of invalid stuff. I mean, before we ran it, we never put any of these things in here. So maybe these actually need to be set not here, but actually in our Docker compose file. So if we go back over to here, yeah, because I didn't set any of these. Yeah, that's the TTS endpoint. So isn't there like a way that we can set it up at the top? I thought I saw that in the chat Q&A. Let's go back to the chat Q&A for a second. In here. I mean, it sets environments like right here. Is that where it's setting this as well? It is. I'm going to go look this up, see if we can set Docker. Because that'd be really nice. So it says using the infile lets you use the same file for use by plane. Docker compose run with env short or -e. You can set environment variables temporarily. I mean, it's kind of suggesting that it should pick them up. Well, let's go back over to here and let's see if we can set an env then. So grab these and paste these in here. And so now they're over here, right? And so we'll go here. Oh, come on, stop doing that, please. We'll go here, and I'm not sure if that's going to work, but I'm going to go ahead and just try to manually set these. So go here and do this. I'll just take this out like this. We don't need that. Like that. And so I'll go ahead and copy this manually into here. I think that's what that was. I'm not sure why it does that, comma, no proxy, but I'll just do it localhost. And then here, the IP address is being set this way. I don't think we need to set this one. We could just do this. This one probably doesn't even have to be set at all. Probably just has to be this. And just to really make sure things work, I'm just going to hard code it. I don't care. So I'm looking for that TTS endpoint right here. Like that. We can always try to figure this out later. So those are now set. But there is this TTS component name. I don't know what that is. But we'll go ahead and we'll try to start this back up again. So I'll save this file. And now these are hard code. So at the very least, we shouldn't have an issue with that now. So we'll go ahead and we'll do a Docker compose down. And we'll wait for that to spin down there. And once it's down, then we'll pull it back up. We'll just give that a moment. All right, so yeah, remove the containers. And so I'll just do a Docker compose up now. Docker compose up. And we'll see what we get now. We'll go over to here on the left-hand side. I don't think I had it running, so it's trying to start up here. We do have a little bit of an issue. No, they're both running. Okay. And we'll go back over to here, and I want to make sure that I save this file here, TTS. And we'll go ahead and we'll try to run that again. And we'll go back and check the logs. We'll have to close out these. These are not showing us logs. And we'll go to the TTS service. No errors. We got a 200. That sounds pretty promising.
Who are you?
There we go.
Who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?
Who are you? Is that what it wrote when we had the thing? Who are you? Who are you is pretty close, but you know, I think it says like it can do voice cloning, other stuff. Obviously, there's that interface that we could upload. That'd be kind of interesting to get working. But right now, I would just say that we did accomplish this part of it, and we technically are. Not technically. We are using a component. So the next step would be like, how would we integrate this back into our mega service, and then what could we do with it, right? Now, I would just say that it's not, obviously, text-to-speech here is not that impressive in terms of its outputted stuff, but it was really interesting to see the results of this one here. Coming back over to this one. Play this again.
对我不感兴趣。
たるので嘆きを我々は覚えているなん
So, of course, too cutesy for me, but, you know, if there's some way that we can get a voice generated, that'd be really cool, but it sounds like you just give it a small code sample and then it can do it. But anyway, we will see what we can do with it, and we'll try to figure out integration, but you can see, yeah, 1 minute voice data can be used to train a good TTS model. I'm really tempted to just kind of go a little bit farther here and get the interface working. As, you know, we did figure this part out. So, yeah, I'm tempted. Let's do it. I might change my mind in 2 seconds, but we'll try. So I'm going to go back over to here, and we have this one we can run. So we'd have to go back over, and this one doesn't need anything else. That's all it needs. If you want to use this, please execute the following command instead. And here it's saying use 9880. So if we go here, back over to this one, and we 9880, we go to our Docker Compose. No, it's here. Oh, it was the environment variable. It's the environment variable, right? So I will go back over to, we'll go back a step. And we'll go into deployment, and we're going to go to Docker Compose, and we'll go into here. And if we want to use this one instead, we need this, of course, so that's one thing we have to do. This is not extending anything. Let's just see, but then we need this one extended. So we'll go here and we will place this in our Docker Compose file because I have a feeling this is going to be pretty darn easy. And I don't see any envars we have to overwrite, so that's good. And then if we go back over to here, I want to merge this one and this one together. So I'll go here, I'll paste this to the side here. Can we make this one? Like we can, obviously, but it'll do the work for us. Oh, did we not do this correctly? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's this one. Can we make this one? Like, it's nice that they do the extends, but I'd rather just not do that. Sometimes simpler stuff is easier. We don't always have to refactor things. So we'll go ahead and copy this. And then we'll go down below here. I'm going to paste this in like that. So now we have this. And yeah, the indentation is kind of messed up, but we'll fix that here. So it wants, this is fine. The only thing that's changed, this is now 988. This one's fine. Text to speech. This one's fine. TSS endpoint. Close up the tab here. I'm trying to figure out like what we need to replace because this is TTS. TTS service. Which is pointing to this one here, which runs on that port. So this doesn't have to be changed. This is fine. But then we have this one here, which is TTS 5. That's fine. And this one's here. I don't think we have to change anything, to be honest. So we'll go back and we'll try to run this now. We'll say compose up. We'll let it pull. Be back in just a moment. By the way, I noticed it's pulling. It's pulling like a lot of data. I don't know why it's so large, but I guess it's doing something special. We'll wait a moment for that to finish. I wasn't expecting it to be so large. All right, so we wait a little bit here. It says port is already allocated. So we do have a port issue, which is not a surprise here. What port in particular is it complaining about? So here we have TTS service, speech 5 service, healthy, GOT service. And then we'll try to do the TTS one. It had an issue. So maybe we have to remove one of them out of here. I'm going to go over here and just, what do we have running? I mean, everything that needs to be running seems to be running. But this one's 988. Well, this one's 988 as well. We can't have both as 988, can we? Why do we have two? Because this one here is the underlying service. Then we have TTS. Oh, I think we're supposed to remove this one out of here. So this one I don't think needs to be there. We just need TTS 5, right? And then we have this one here. So they are both running. So I don't think there's an issue. I don't think there's an issue. But we need to go to whatever the port is for this one, which is on 9088. So I want to see now, can we access this 9088 port anywhere? So if we go to my host here, we say localhost 9088. Can we access it? Not found. What I'm looking for here is, well, obviously the service is running. TTS, well, this one extends it. We don't need to extend it. Let's go back over to here for a second, to the source. Start the microservice. 9880. Well, this one's saying 9088. Oh, over here. I don't think we updated this. So this is what needs to be updated, TTS endpoint. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll go ahead and stop this. Docker compose down. But maybe it's running on 9880 and then we can utilize this. If we can, it's fine if we can't, but it'd be really cool if we can. I'd love to see if I can clone my voice in like 1 minute of audio. It'd be interesting. So we'll go here. Are they all stopped? It's trying. Stop. Stop. There we go. So we'll go back up to here. We'll try to start this back up again. Make sure our files are saved. We'll hit up. We have both up here, some Chinese text, which probably is good. And now it's on 9088. Okay, great. So 9880. Now we're saying 9088 is up. Well, which one is it? Is it 9088 or 9880? I guess we'll find out in a second, right? So say localhost 9088. No. So it's 9880. Internal error. We'll go back over to here. Port is already allocated. 9088. 705. 705, text to speech. Oh, this one here. Okay, so we'll go ahead and comment this out. That's our problem. Okay, and so now what I'll do is I'll just Docker compose down. I think we got it this time. Okay, it'd be really cool if we get that interface working. There's so many cool things that we can do with AI, but it's just getting them to run is always the challenge, right? So go here, we'll wait for this to stop. They're all stopped. We'll go back up here. No, not there. We'll hit Docker compose up. And so now this is spinning back up. And we will now go take a look here. No errors so far. We'll give it a moment. 9880. And we have 9088. So I think it's going to be 9880. If it's not, it's 9088. No, it must be 9880. Internal server error. What's our problem? Well, which one is 9880? It's this one, right? 9880. And it maps to 9088. But then why is this one 9880? And then we go up here. Oh, because this service is up here. Okay, so we have this one here. This one's running 9088 service. So this one is the interface. And this one here is, no, this is actually the service and this is the interface. Man, it's a bit confusing to figure this out. Maybe we're never supposed to actually access the interface directly. But this one here is on 988. Okay. Argument type is none. Okay, well, I'm not sure how to get that working, which is totally fine. But we'll just call this done. And I mean, again, it would have been nice to get that interface, but it will require a bit more work, and I'll see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.